Hey folks, Leith here. I am just going to do a synergy for you of the numbers that came through on Christmas night from this fabulous Electric Universe show put forward by Sasha, Alejandro, and Alina. So, as a professional astrologer, I'll just put some structure around those numbers because the numbers, well, we started at Capricorn, which is fine, but astrology is actually a very organized system. And so to look at it from a different perspective is really helpful to understand these numbers a little bit better. So starting out with Sasha having a little bit of a meltdown about being a Taurus and comparing himself to Pisces at 900, Taurus at 100. Let's take a look, for example, right? So this is an astrology chart, which most people have not seen their own astrology chart. This is an event chart, New Year 2020, 1st of January 2020, right at 12:01, happens to be in Perth, because that's where I'm based in Australia. It can be moved to anywhere. So your birth is an event. So everyone has their own birth chart that is as unique as your fingerprint. And so knowing what your birth chart looks like and how it's functioning is a really important piece of information for you to run your life by. There's an assumption made there that Taurus is referring to the sun sign, because most of us only know our sun sign, or people call it a star sign, but it's the sun. What sign was the sun in when you were born? But really, that would be a separate reading if we were to look at it again. If we were to ask for a reading on sun in Taurus, that is going to be a different number than just 100, because 100 is referring to just that energy of Taurus. So everyone does indeed have all signs in their own birth chart and all planets in their own birth chart. So it's not a problem to be a Taurus. Every sign has a very specific job that it is fulfilling, and all the jobs are about survival. Every job is about survival. Every planet is about survival. So it's really important to understand the motivation of the energy that someone is working with. So to have Sun in Taurus, this Sun's in Capricorn because of the time of the year, but to have Sun in Taurus is to be doing a very specific role. Sun is our job in the world. It's what we go out into the world and do. It's a very public part of the chart. And that's why we like to know each other's signs if you're that way orientated. To say you meet someone and you want to know what star sign are you or what sun sign are you, because it gives us a little bit of an insight into what that personality might be geared towards, because it's a public part of the chart. It's our job. What do we do for the tribe? Whereas other parts of the chart, like the moon, for example, is a very private part of the chart where many people will not get to know our moon, or only get to know a very small part of it. If you're in an office environment, for example, people are only going to know a certain aspect of your moon sign. If you're in a committed married relationship, then that other person's going to know pretty much all of your moon sign, most of your moon sign. It rules your sense of security. So knowing what sign your moon is in is really important, because it's telling you what you need to feel emotionally secure. So the moon having the smallest orbit, 27, 28 days, what sign it's in is really important. So if we look at the numbers for a second, and then I'm going to tell you a story. And if you remember this story, You will learn more about astrology in this little reading than probably more than what you've ever known in your life. And it will help you understand other people a lot quicker and easier. So if we look at the moon, it was coming in at 55, which is apathy, but the moon is moving so quickly and it's got signs passing through it every 3 days. So you want to think of the moon as perhaps being a, a glove, and then the sign that moves through it is the hand in the glove. And is the moon happy when it's being activated by that hand, or is it not? Because all of the planets and luminaries and asteroids, depending on what their job is, either can get their job done well and easy, depending on what sign is passing through them, or they can't. If a sign has if a planet or a luminary or asteroid has a energy moving through it that it can't work with, then we have an issue. So the story I choose to tell you is the map of consciousness, which is the map of the tribal mind, because we live in a tribe. Although our tribe has been severely broken, and this year we have had our tribes massacred, basically, with this social distancing rubbish. And we can see in this chart this big red square that's really angry, and look at all this red, red, red. So that is what we would call a hard aspect in charts, a difficult aspect to work with. And of course we've got this huge big control element sitting here that's all Capricorn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Ouch. 7 aspects of Capricorn to start the year off. And Capricorn is about authority, respect, and in its worst case scenario, control. Who has got control? Well, we've been witnessing that all of this year, and the year that we're about to start is looking happier, and I will show you that in a moment. But first, let me tell you this story. So, the story starts with Aries. Aries is the first glyph of the collective, the first impulse into third-dimensional reality. It is our first need to survive is being met by Aries. What does Aries do? Aries is the hunter. It's a hunter, and it's a cardinal fire sign. So it's moving quickly, it's super focused, and it's largely about food and conquering the environment so that it can survive. But it was also vulnerable because it was out hunting on the plains, and maybe there was no bison running this year, or any number of events that could have resulted in the Aries coming home with no food, wherever home might be. There might have been no home, it may have been nomadic, and hence is born the need for the beloved Taurus. Sasha. Taurus. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. Its job, when it's sitting in the sun sign, its job, well, not just in the sun sign, it's always got this job, but when it's in the sun sign, it's public arena. Its job is to create the cave, so overseas housing. It's actually sitting in Vesta in this chart, the house. Oversee housing and predictable food, so the crop grower. So that is what Taurus, its job is, and it's helping Aries by creating a home base and a predictable crop, i.e. the corn or the wheat, should the Aries come home with no beast killed. So we still have food. So Taurus, being a fixed earth sign, is the slowest moving sign of all of them and doesn't like change, because change upsets the potential of the land being lost and the food being scattered. So Taurus, how we support this reading of 100 is its low emotional scale. Only when we look at it in isolation. It doesn't like emotion because emotion threatens stability, and it's all about survival, remember? It's all about survival. So it has evolved to create stability for the Aries who's out hunting. So emotional circumstances threaten the food and the cave or the castle. But that's only in isolation. And it's not isolated. All of this is going on, and it's interacting with all of this. So just because this number 100 is representing that its emotional scale is low, the emotions are living somewhere else, potentially. Maybe not, but probably yes, because there's all this other stuff going on, right? So it's good to know, as a Taurus, they love to be at home. They like to stay home. They're very practical, methodical, because they're a fixed earth sign. They're quite predictable because they're a fixed earth sign. They enjoy food. They like to have food security around them. And of course, you know, we have this huge land issue. And Sasha's just done this fabulous recording with Bibi regarding land and allodial title. So that's a very Taurian issue. Who's got the land? Not the people right now. The fake crown that has been getting removed, and to the best of our knowledge is largely removed at this point in time. So anyway, on with the story. We go from the hunter who's vulnerable to the Taurus who gives predictable food and shelter. So here we have activity going on. So what must we need? We need Gemini, that comes along as a mutable air sign and is communicating and moving around and picking up data and spreading it from person to person, and maybe from local tribe to local tribe. It's educating within its local community. So I like to think of Gemini as a bee buzzing around, picking up data from one place, moving it to the next place. So we're still in the development of the tribe. So then we have Cancer. Obviously the tribe is reproducing. It's a cluster of people. So we have Cancer as the mother figure. Then if we've got a tribe here and then over the hill there's another tribe, so we need someone to go and represent us and to speak to that representative from the other tribe, and we can discuss how the waterhole might be used by both tribes. Remember, you've got to go back into the old tribal mind to understand the evolution of these energies, because that's where we've come from. We've come from, no matter what way you look at it, we've come from a primal quest to survive. So Leo is our ambassador. So we send out our Leo and it goes and meets the other Leo and things get discussed. And then we come to Virgo. So Virgo is our scribe, our systems and process energy, because if we've got all this going on and we've got agreements happening with the tribe over the hill and we've got a certain way that we make a fire, somebody needs to be recording that. And that is Virgo, systems and processes. So without digressing too deeply into any particular sign in this particular recording, you know, Virgos can be hypercritical, super clean, a bit nitpicky, And that's because their job is to pick up the tiny fine details and record them so that, again, we do not perish. Should a large disaster happen, we have the records of the Virgo. They wrote stuff down. They inscribed it somewhere. Now we come to, so that's our first 6 glyphs. And if you look at these numbers, for the first 6 of them, they are lower than the second 6, aside from Scorpio, right? Which I'll go into in a second. But these are lower, right? And the reason is because we live in a dual reality, a reflected reality. So we're at the cross point here. So whilst we have 12 signs, we actually have 6 axes, 6 very important axes with a sign at each end. And I'll show you here. If we look at the axes, here we have the axes. We have the relationships axes with Aries at one end and Libra at the other end. I might have a little typo in it actually. Libra was 650. And we have the resources axes with Taurus at one end and Scorpio at the other end. We have the education axes, which is Gemini and Sagittarius. We have the work home axes, which is Cancer and Capricorn. We have the hopes and dreams axes, which is Leo and Aquarius. And we have the service/slavery axes, which is Virgo and Pisces. So each axis has a possibility of behavior, and within each sign there is an axis of possibility. So if we look at Pisces, for example, 900, just as an example, Pisces is ruled by Neptune. It is the dreamer, the psychic, the shaman. So in its axis of possibility, that's all its good aspects, but at its negative end, it is it can be the best drug addict of the tribe, because it's trying to get out into these Neptunian worlds where things like music, art, altered states of being live. So one of the pathways out is drugs, also meditation, stillness and quietness. Its biggest challenge is boundaries, because it is boundaryless. And that is why it is 900. But I'll come back to it when I get to it in the story. So within each sign is an axis of possibility, from a really negative point to a really positive point. If you think back to how many great artists have died from drug overdoses, or great painters that were also manically depressed, all sorts of stories like that, right? So that is the axis for Pisces. And then when we're dealing in this 180 degrees, which I'll show you here, 180 degrees, for example, well, these two are intercepted, but here they are. Here's Pisces and here's Virgo. They're 180 degrees from each other. Taurus here, my resources. Across the way is Scorpio, the tribe's resources. So essentially what I'm saying is, on these axes, there's a scale of possibility, and as we cross over from the first 6 glyphs into the second 6 glyphs, we start to get the reflected aspect of the axes, and we also get the collective aspect of the axes. So you'll see then that as we cross over into the second 6, their numbers are much higher. And why is that? It is because they are no longer thinking about a me reality. They are thinking about the we reality. These signs are the big thinkers. They look after the whole tribe. And we all have these in our chart. Everyone's chart has all of these and all of these numbers. It's just where they might be placed in your chart. You might know yourself to be a Taurian sun, or in this chart it's a Capricorn sun, and probably have no idea what your moon is. Most people don't know anything more about their chart than their sun sign. And so you don't know what all of this is, or what all of this is, or any of the stuff that lives beyond this one particular image that I'm showing you right now, which is a lot more. So this is a considerable body of information that anyone would benefit from knowing in regard to their own chart. So we got up to Libra. So Libra, so we've come from Aries, me, I've got to survive, I'm hunting, I'm focused out of my way, all I can think about is that deer that I need to kill. Now we're all the way over at Libra, 180 degrees away, and it's saying, we, I am the harmonizer, and if you look at the adjective that is applied to Libra, it's peace. I am the harmonizer of the tribe, but I also rule law, right? Because law is about keeping harmony. And what has this whole year been about? It's been about law, the lawlessness of what has happened, the confrontation with reality for so many people that I don't know any law. I feel like I'm being violated right now and I have no clue what are my rights or where are they and are they recorded and how do I make use of them. And then as we tie the year up, whether you're aware or not, the process that the Trump administration is up to in terms of proving that the election was a fraud is they're letting it pass through all the different layers of the court system so that the court system can reveal whether it is practicing law or whether it is practicing a private legal system, which is what we have been subjected to for a very long time, a private legal system. And that private system is disclosing itself all the time because it's backed itself into a corner as more people wake up. And so far, we're not really seeing any wins from the courts in the US other than to show that they're not practicing law. They're practicing a private legal system. The basis of law is rule of law. All are equal before the law. So to have a private legal system doing whatever it wants, which is basically violating maxim of law, which looks after the rights of people, looks after that everyone has access to the same level of law. So it's showing itself to be corrupted and useless. And the next remedy for that will be martial law that will come in, and everyone on the current court benches will be removed, and that will trickle out all around the world because it's one whole system running the whole planet, as we have clearly seen this year. So Libra is one of the signs in charge of that unfolding, that law is put into place. So then we have Scorpio, which is across from Taurus. So Taurus is all about me and my resources and my house and my crop, and I'm probably happy to share them, but I'm going to keep control of them in case someone does something diabolical and suddenly the house I don't own or the crop I'm not in charge of. Whereas Scorpio is all about our resources, the tribe's resources. And you may have heard of the Scorpio Sting, which is very real. If you double cross a Scorpio who's overseeing the tribe's resources, you will earn yourself the Scorpio Sting, which is to say the Scorpio has assessed you as being dangerous to the tribe's resources. You will be ejected from the tribe within whatever given capacity that is. Maybe you're a friend, maybe you're a family member, maybe you are inside a large corporation handling lots of money. Of course, again, if we go back into the US and all around the world, we can see CEOs stepping down all the time because they've been caught out for diddling the books and not doing the right thing by the tribe, right? So Scorpio is classified as being really intense for this reason. It is a fixed water sign, so it's highly intuitive, it's highly sensitive, it's sniffing stuff out all the time. Fabulous to have on your side, very dangerous if you double cross them and they find out. Ouch. Next we go to Sagittarius, which is 180 degrees away from Gemini. So now we're on the education axis. So everyone's been getting educated this year, and there's a lot more of it for the year that's coming. And Sagittarius, so where this was a local dissemination of information, Sagittarius is a broad, global, and more galactic level of content. It's ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter is a planet of good luck. It gives Sagittarius good luck in terms of food and shelter, so that it can get moving and get going and go and collect data and bring it back, so that the tribe does not become extinct by failing to keep up with what's going on around it. So Sagittarius, a mutable fire sign, is the fastest moving of all the energies of the tribe. It's out and about, it's collecting data, it's got a big personality, it's pretty ingenious, it's got a low attachment to stuff, things come and go really quickly with it, and it's inspirational. All the fire signs are inspirational. Then we come to Capricorn. So we have been dealing heavily with Capricorn this year, quite clearly. This was the event chart that we stepped into for the beginning of 2020, where the power structure was lined up big time, saying we are in charge, we are in control, we're going to show you that. And they did. They have shown it in a really profound way, and they have kept us all separated as much as possible so that we could not disperse information to each other. However, people like Sasha and lots of other people have been doing an amazing job at getting information out to people, as well as lots of good people doing lots of good research for themselves, which is wonderful. So Capricorn is one of the old wise people of the tribe. It is a cardinal earth sign. So it is assertively putting down structure, because earth is always building structure, and holding authority and putting long-term plans into place, and anything that gets in the way of those plans, boom, it'll just knock you out of the way. It doesn't care. Get out of the way. That is my goal. That is where I am going. And so it's very powerful, a cardinal earth sign. The joyous part of Capricorn is it becomes more playful and younger as it gets older. So all of the signs are positive and negative. It depends on who's using them and for what purpose are they using them. And, you know, we need old wise people in the tribe. Don't get me wrong, we need old wise people for sure. But when they're hoarding the resources, Scorpio, and disobeying law, then there's going to be trouble. And that's what we have right now. And we are on the winning side finally. So we'll get to that in a second. Onward from there, we come to Aquarius, who is the humanitarian. So this is 180 degrees from Leo. Leo is our ambassador. I am here, I'm well attired, I represent this, that, and the other. Aquarius is in the background. It's got an offbeat type of groove to it. It doesn't fit in for the very good reason that it allows it to see easier if it doesn't move with the pack. If you are an Aquarian or know any Aquarians, then you will know that they are slightly offbeat. They tend to dress a bit funky. They're good people, but they also like their own time and space because they're quite reflective. They are a fixed air sign, so they're looking after humanity, and here we are, we're heading into the age of Aquarius, the age of humanity, where humanity is governing itself. It's not being looked after by this small power structure that has coerced us all into this awful situation that we've been enduring for many centuries. It's culminating this current year. And finally, we get to Pisces at 900. And why is it 900? because we're back to the God state here. Pisces is the end of it all. It's everything. It's all signs tied in to one. It's ruled by Neptune. And if you look at Neptune, you'll see that Neptune is also quite high, right? The highest besides Earth, because it's the dream state. So we've had our dream state manipulated by Hollywood, and really our dream state is that we are manifesting for ourselves. And so it has a low attachment to materialism. It's very psychic, it's shaman, it has easy access to the outer realms where other information lives. It's not easily accessible from just an earth plane. And it also oversees things like spirituality and sometimes religion. We have come through, yes, 2,000 years of religion, but it's corrupted religion. So if you can remember the roles of these signs in this brief description that I've just done, I'm already up to 31 minutes, you will have a better understanding of how the tribal mind actually functions, and to not get hung up on if you heard a low number for your particular sign. You've got all these signs and all these numbers, and what you really want to do is learn more about your own personal chart and what is sitting where and how you can make best use of it to serve yourself. So I'll just show you. So that was the year 2020 that I was just using as an example. This square in astrology, when we have a square, it's pretty nasty. It takes a long time to resolve, and it's blocked and checked. And the nodal axes, which was the south and north node, Karma Dharma, was sitting on the Cancer Capricorn, which is a challenge. We've had this huge challenge about work and home and families, and can I see my family, or is someone telling me no, I have to watch them die through the glass of the ICU, or whatever might be the case. So lots of issues connected there to this events chart. So now if I can just find the next bit, I'll show you one more thing before I conclude this particular session. So this is 2020 that we were just looking at here, and now we've got 2021 showing up around the outside of it. So again, it's an event chart. It keeps moving from this moment onward, but we enter the year in this position as opposed to this position. And I'll remove that in a second and show you the aspects. So we've got Saturn has moved into Aquarius. Yay, it is the old ruler of Aquarius. Now we have Uranus ruling Aquarius, but still nice coupling. We have Jupiter in Aquarius, also really nice. We have Pallas Athene in Aquarius. We're going to have the Sun still in Capricorn because it's that time of year. And we've got Mercury still in Capricorn. Pluto is at 24 degrees of Capricorn, which has been helping us immensely. It is Pluto that has been blowing all of this stuff up. So if we go back to the numbers and we look at, it's this bit that I want. The moon is 55 and so is Pluto. Pluto's 50. So why would our innermost orb be 55 and our outermost orb be 50? Why would that be? Well, this is moving really fast and this is moving really slow. So we can say that when the energy field comes into either of these are like a beacon, and the energy field gets to work with whatever this particular orb does. This one is a death, destroyer, rebirther. So that's what's been happening. And Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto has blown up the power structure. Capricorn, moon, whatever energy field is moving through the moon is what is giving you your emotional lens. So if the moon was, for example, moved into place, as Sasha has said, then it has been done with the view of harvesting our emotions, not necessarily for someone else's enjoyment at our sacrifice, although there's plenty of evidence of that, but also as a humanity, we experience many wonderful emotional states, and so that is a wonderful thing to have. And it's got such a tight little orb, and it's moving through a sign every 3 days, and so it's like it's just a vessel to receive the energy field, which is why it's coming up as perhaps apathy. So in conclusion, I will just get rid of that chart, and let's look at 2021. It's still got so much going on in it, but it's got a lot more blue, which is what we want to see. It's got trines happening, things trining, and we don't have that big square quite as intense. We can probably find it here, but it's not like it was. So we're moving forward. There's a lot going on with education as a starting point. The nodal axis is starting on the education axis, which is fabulous. We've got Chiron, our warrior, that is wounded. This is Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries. So our ability to go out and just do for ourselves has been thwarted, and that's just at 5 degrees. So that's still got quite a lot of unfolding to go. But our Mars in Aries, Mars rules Aries, so it's really happy to be in Aries, is in rulership and is well developed. So when 2021 gets going, it's going to be big, and the people are going to be poised and ready and, dare I say, hyper switched on, pretty vigilant, and probably quite vicious, because the payback for what 2020 offered us in terms of restriction is quite well known now, highly experienced, and people have had enough pretty much. So lots more that could be spoken about in regard to this, but I hope that gives you some idea of how these numbers might work a bit better for you. So 6 axes, 6 pivotal axes, which covers all of life, 12 signs, all that these planets, whatever you see here is the planet that rules this sign. A couple of Venus, for example, rules Taurus and Libra. So they work together if they end up being together, and by transit, of course, they're going to at some point pass through each other. And as you can see, because we're in a dualistic environment, that as soon as we get up to Libra and cross over, that the numbers change considerably. So I have said here, we're in a 12-month calendar. 12-month calendar is a sun calendar because we're in a patriarchal system. We're not in a matriarchal system, which is the 13 moon calendar. The age of Pisces, but just in conclusion, recognizing the age of Pisces was the discovery of the planet by sea. We've been in maritime law, the law of the seas, which is slavery, and Pisces rules service or slavery. It's a fine line. So law of the seas is a corrupted law. So that's where the UCC has come in, and the contract law, and you were lost at sea and you were salvaged, and if you didn't declare yourself alive within 7 years, then, onward it goes. There's a huge story connected to that. So Pisces is slavery, your age of Pisces, slavery, service, martyr, poverty, low attachment to material. It's very sacrificial, Pisces, and can endure a lot. So we live on a planet of contrast, so we only we really learn through contrast. The good and the bad is what helps our psychology and our consciousness to develop. It's not that we need to overcome a sign, where the goal is to master it. They all have a job to do, and we get 30 years to master a sign before we move on to the next one, as per a progressed chart, which is something I would go into on another occasion. So I hope that has been helpful to people that may listen to this, and that you have a greater insight into your own chart. And if you wish to have your chart printed and some analysis of it, feel free to contact me at leithmastersastrologist.life. Okay, I'll leave it at that for now. Peace and love, and happy 2021. Thank you.